Now, for an anime to qualify to this list, it needs to fulfill one exact requirement. The last episode should show the couple actually married, living happily ever after. No confused endings, no implied endings, no love triangles that don't get resolved, none of that. Alright, let's go. Hikari Tsutsui's whole world is two-dimensional. Games, anime, his cat-eared best friend Yuto, and nothing else. Real girls just mean getting mocked at school. Then he gets stuck cleaning the pool as punishment and ends up meeting Iroha Igarashi, the girl every guy avoids because of her reputation for being blunt and messing around with boys. He wants nothing to do with her, but guess what? That doesn't happen.
その風、私がもらう。
A lot of anime try hard to nail that awkward chemistry, but a lot of them don't work. But here, it works really well. And heck, if you want some emotional stuff, you even get them during the final arc. But don't worry, you don't need tissues. This gets a happy ending. The animation can get a little better, but hey, we're here for good endings.
とにかく、綾瀬さんには私のこと、はるかって呼んでほしいんです。
わかった。はるかでいいんだよな。はい。
Haruka Nogizaka is the most popular girl in the school, but nobody knows she's a hardcore otaku hiding manga in her bag between classes. Yuto Ayase finds out by accident in the library, and instead of using it against her, he agrees to keep her secret. And there you go. That's pretty much the title of the show.
それでしたら、私と付き合っていただけませんか?
When I started watching it, I thought this was going to be a one-season thing, but surprisingly, it has 3 seasons and an actual proper ending to the couple. And that kind of ending is not something I expect out of an anime that started out with a girl hiding manga. Now, the animation is old school. My boy Yuto has the personality of a cardboard, but as always, when it comes to shows like these, the girl is the one carrying the show on the back.
邪魔するけど、なんだ、起きてるじゃないか。 意地汚い。あげないぞ。
なんだこの不法侵入者。そんなレトルト頼まれたっているもんか。
And we're back with one of my favorites. But this one's not a TV show. It's 7 movies, released out of order on purpose, following Shiki Ryugi, a cold, dangerous girl who can literally perceive death. She teams up with an occult investigator, Toko Ozaki, and her assistant, Mikia Kokuto, to untangle supernatural cases across the late 90s Tokyo.
そっか、あざかは初めてだったね。紹介するよ。僕のクラスメートの両義式さん。
あの女とミキヤを一刻も早く別れさせ。
Now, I know you're going to watch the first movie and then see all the horror stuff and think, that's it, I'm hunting down Mr. Dent. But this has one of the best romance anime payoffs I have seen. And they even dedicate a completely separate after story to speak about their daughter too. Besides, this is one of Uftable's earliest works and they still nailed the animation.
知らないんですか? 枯れた白いバラの花言葉は生涯を誓うですよ。
My boy Bochan got cursed as a kid and anything he touches dies. So he's been shipped off to live alone in a manor with basically no human contact, except his maid Alice, who flirts with him constantly and isn't going anywhere, curse or not. He can't so much as hold her hand without killing her, which makes every moment between them this weird mix of comedy and, you know, romantic tension.
君にとって僕が何なのか知らないけど。
クッキーもう一枚いかがですか?
話聞いてた?
I really love the premise of the show, and the only reason I've been holding back was because of the CGI animation. But now that the full series was over, I binged watched it on one weekend, and I'm really happy I didn't skip it. Alice actually has her own problems, which doesn't make her a one-dimensional character, and Bochan and Alice's dynamic is one of the best I've seen on screen. Yes, this has a happy ending too, so go check it out.
よかった。やっとお顔が柔らかくなった。ずっと一緒に見たかったのです。
Now, this is set in Japan's real Taisho era, which is somewhere between the 1910s and 1920s. Tamahiko Shima lost the use of his hand and his mother in the same accident, and his wealthy family exiled him to the mountains to rot in peace. Then a stranger shows up on his doorstep one snowy night. Yuzuki Tachibana, 14-year-old, sold off by her family to be his bride and looked after him.
くすぐったい。
すまない。
This is all about the kind girl melting the cold boy's heart, and if you love that concept, you're gonna love this one. Yes, Yuzuki is a bit of a Mary Sue character, but when the anime itself starts off black and white and the ending setting is gloomy, you really need a girl like her. But what's more amazing is how the anime stuck to the 1920s Taisho era production design and character art. That's what I call some good attention to detail.
やっと来たか。
何してるの？
君の到着が思ったより遅かったのでな。退屈していたところだ。
君、占い師なの？
And here's another one of my favorites. Kazuya Kojo is the new Japanese transfer student at a European boarding school, and everyone thinks his black hair makes him some kind of death omen. Then he stumbles into a hidden garden and finds Victorique de Blas, a tiny doll-like girl practically nobody at the school even knows exists, who can solve any mystery you throw at her without leaving her spot.
これおかしい。椅子？君難民なの？
必要だったら必要なのだ。
I always love when mystery shows do it right, and this boy does it really, really right. The opening arc itself goes from horror to urban mystery to short girl comedy to horror back again, all within one episode. And they also utilize the setting of the show really well. The whole 1920s European setting gives Gosek a distinct look most anime don't have. And yes, with all of this and an actual happy ending, this is the best mystery romance you should pick up.
こちら一国間ですね。
Yusuke Godai is one bad night from moving out of his chaotic boarding house. Then the new manager shows up, Koyoko Otanashi, and he's suddenly not in a hurry to leave. Problem is, Koko's a young widow whose husband died months into their marriage, and she's convinced nobody else could measure up. But Godai is an extreme level simp, and isn't refusing to let his crush fade away.
まともに同情したらバカ見るわよ。
くそ、騙したな。
タフなんですね。
If you've watched my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of Rumiko Takahashi's work, and this is one of her best. You know why? Because thank dear God, we finally have a proper ending with a proper payoff to characters. Both Yurise Yatsura and Ranma 1/2 ends halfway through, with the ending only implying they will be together forever, but this takes the extra step.
知らないよ。許せないけど。 そんなの知らないよ。だってさ。
俺、めぐみが好きだ。
Time for some game making. Tomoya Aki spent years obsessed with anime, games, and light novels, and he finally wants to make his own visual novel instead of just consuming everyone else's. He recruits his childhood friend Iriri to draw it and a literary genius named Utaha to write it, but he still needs a face for his main character. This is where best girl Megumi Kato comes in, a girl so unremarkable Tomoya barely notices her, right up until he decides she's exactly the inspiration he's been missing.
人気出るといいね。
出るに決まってる。だって彼女は俺が見出した。
Oh, come on. If you're a long-term fan of my channel, you know I absolutely love this show. Megumi might be called the most boring girlfriend, but ironically, she's the most lovable character of the entire show. And the final movie just proves it. The movie also has one of the most wholesome endings of all time. So if you ignore the first 2 seasons, at least give the movie a go. It's really wholesome.
今日のこと学校では言わないで。恥ずかしい。
Kotaro Azumi wants to be a writer. Akane Mizuno runs track. They land in the same class for their final year of junior high and barely interact until a string of small awkward coincidences keep throwing them together. But just like every love story, love ain't so easy.
LINE 聞いてもいい？係のグループ作ったから。
One thing I love about Tsukigakure is how it does that awkward halting pace of young love really well. Come on, you are or were a teenager at one point, and you know things aren't pretty fast paced back then when you have butterflies in your stomach. This is also an original story with no manga or light novel, so I gotta give props to the writers.
おかえりなさい、京くん。
ただいま。トールも今帰りか？お帰り。
今日はいつもよりお早いですね。
そうだな。
Toru Honda's mom just died, and rather than tell anyone, she's quietly living alone in a tent. Well, turns out the tent's pitched on land owned by the Soma family, who take her in once they find out, and who happened to be hiding a secret of their own. Hug a Soma if you're the opposite sex, and they transform into an animal of the Chinese zodiac. Toru gets pulled straight into that world, especially into the orbit of short-tempered Koyu and the school's prince, Yuki.
そうだな。
This version of Fruits Basket is the full manga adaptation along with some new character designs approved by the mangaka herself. And trust me, it's one of the best romance shows I've watched. Everything from the supernatural chaos to the comedy to the love triangle to the final emotions arcs of each season is on a completely different level. Besides, for once, a love triangle actually ends the way I want it and gives the best boy a happy ending. So I am all in for this ending.